Okay, so welcome back. This is Inside Pages on Metro Television. As I did indicate, it's all about the environment. We're celebrating the environment. But like I did also indicate, we're looking at environments with, both in the social and political context, and even within the legal context. Now, social context, Zoom Lion is celebrating World Environment Day, and we have to have a full understanding of what this day is all about, and why we all as Ghanaians must celebrate it just like the world is celebrating, or the world actually celebrated World Environment Day. And I have some very powerful resource persons. We're throwing some more light on that. But within the political context, as I also did indicate, Professor Frimpong Boateng, who is supposed to be the hero of our times because of the job he's done, he issued a report about the challenges we're facing with Galamsey, the fight against Galamsey, and the persons who are making it difficult for us to fight Galamsey. He submitted that report to the presidency, and a lot of things have happened since. Now, just 2 days ago, news broke that on the 16th of May, he was actually invited by the Special Prosecutor's Office for some kind of interrogation and investigations into corruption-related issues that came up during his tenure as the chair of the IMSIM, which is the Interministerial Committee on small-scale mining, and the fight against small-scale mining. And that came as some kind of a shock. Very interesting twist, to the turn of events, because he's supposed to be the hero. Now it's almost as if he's being treated as a villain, as some have argued. It's not really the case. So we'll look into that matter on the show this morning, and I've also got the right persons to express their thoughts on what they make of this. But first of all, let me start the show with by introducing my resource persons from Zoom Lion Ghana Limited. That's Edwin Amwako, is the managing director, Zoom Lion Private Services Limited. Good morning, sir. Thank you very much for joining us. Now, Edwin has been a long-time friend. We go as far back as in the mid 2000s. And so he's no stranger at all. And then also I have Emma Adjoa Oseidia. She's the Communications and Corporate Affairs Director of Zoom Lion Ghana Limited. Good morning, madam. Thank you very much for joining us as well. So I'll start with this. So I think the obvious question that many Ghanaians, I'm sure, would want to ask is, and maybe Edwin, I'll start with you. Why must I be concerned about a day like this, World Environment Day? What is it about? Of all the days that the world celebrates, why must I be concerned about this day?
Thank you, Moro. So first, two things why you should be concerned. Number one, for me, we only have one Earth to live on. Right. So far, this is where life is sustained. And it's so important that in this Earth that we live on, we ensure that we leave it better than we met it. So the commemoration of World Environment Day, which is more of a reminder and the need for us to sensitize that we need to keep this environment as pristine as we saw it and make sure that we leave it better for our children, cannot be more emphasized at a time like this and in a country like Ghana. So what we are doing today and what we are trying to make people hear about for the past weeks that we've been out there is the fact that we need to make sure that the environment that we came to find it, we leave it better than we came to see it. And we want to do this by educating people on the benefits and also the dangers of doing some human factors or some things that we do that may not leave the environment the way that we do. So Emma, this is the whole hula baloo.
Oh, yeah. I see. That's quite interesting. It wasn't that quite loud on the 5th of June, was it? I know Zoom Lion, did sort of try to draw some kind of an awareness or create some kind of an awareness about this day, but not sure how far that has gone. Do you get the feeling, Emma, that we don't seem to see the real or the main relevance of this day?
That is a yes and a no.
Right.
I've observed that matters concerning the environment, until it affects an individual, making the person feel pained, people don't care.
True. Right.
And that is the more reason why we have made a lot of noise by way of public education, month in, month out, and people still feel comfortable, let me use that word, to litter the streets.
Right.
I was shocked when about a month ago I was behind a vehicle around UPSC area and I saw someone drop sachet water on the street. I was like, this is not a bush. So why would you do that? It doesn't affect the person immediately.
Yeah.
But wait until that person's area gets flooded and he starts shouting, government should come to my aid. So matters concerning the environment, unfortunately, until it gets to our skin, we pretend we don't know it exists.
Right.
And that is very bad. So it is important that we continue with this education, if we can, every day, until the last person gets concerned. The last person decides that I want my attitude to be a positive one towards the environment. Otherwise, any day, any time, the environment will find its space and it will work against you if you are not treating it well.
I see. So it is in our own interest for us to keep the environment clean.
Absolutely.
To keep the environment safe. Because it will come back to haunt us.
Absolutely.
Now, so tell us about it. So who are the main sponsors of the World Environment Day?
Okay, when we talk about World Environment Day, it is mainly sponsored or supported by non-governmental organizations and governments.
Okay.
And these organizations bring their activities together to espouse what the United Nations want to equal to people. This same Environment Day is called the Eco Day.
Right.
And so if you hear Eco Day or Environment Day, it's synonymous.
Yeah.
And the organizations that support this celebration always have it at heart that we should be able to keep the environment in a way that posterity will not judge us. So organizations such as Zoom Lion come to play because our activities mainly border on these beliefs and strengths.
Right.
So we support the celebration by making it loud to everybody, and through that we also make our services known to people. Because if I'm talking about you protecting the environment, what am I telling you? Make sure you manage your on-premises waste appropriately by getting a bin or two. And with the objective for this year, beat the plastic pollution, then I will come again and tell you that try and get 2 receptacles and put your plastics in one and put all others, if you cannot afford any more, all others in the other one, so that we capture the plastics immediately we generate that waste. And by that, we will not find the waste going into the gutters to choke the gutters like the images we are seeing right now, and then eventually cause floods for us when it drizzles a little in Accra.
Okay. Typically, when world events like this are celebrated, it cannot be celebrated without a theme, because the theme drives the activities of the celebration. What is the theme for this year's celebration? Why do you think that theme has been chosen?
So thank you, Amoro. Beat plastic solution as the team. Beat plastic pollution.
As a BEAT.
Yeah, exactly. Let's beat it, or let's tone it down. But beat plastic solution, I think, is a very strong theme, especially at a time like this, because the menace of our indiscriminate use and disposal of plastics continues to come back to haunt us as a people. I think maybe it's a far stretch to say you should not use plastics at all, but I think stakeholders and also people in the space need to drive the sensitization and the awareness that plastics, or most of these plastics that we use, can have a second life, and it's important that we start from a point of segregation and then we get to reuse and potentially recycling. And Zoom Lion Ghana Limited, together with some of the subsidiaries under Jospon, have, I think, the biggest within the West African region in terms of end-to-end waste management solution that has right from door-to-door collection up onto where we segregate, and also gives some of these plastics a second life, bringing it back into the societies from which we pick them to be used again. Now, the bins, like Emma said, that we give to more than 1 million of people in the country now, are coming from recycled plastics that we collect. Now, imagine everybody drives home the messaging of segregation, because, you know, when you start segregation at home, it goes to the office, and you are able to also do it as a corporate body. And these clean plastics get into the hands of people who can recycle it, like one of our companies called UPPR. Then we can give that plastic a second life and reduce the amount of plastics that end up in the streets, on our landfills, etc. This is one of the key reasons why we think Beat Plastic Solution is a strong theme, and we want to drive it. Being the leaders for waste management, Zoom Lion, there's a raison d'être. So being the leaders, we need to send this message across so that people will get into the mood of starting segregation, so that we can also harvest it and use it, give it a second life.
But clearly, Emma, from what Edwin has said, the effect or the impact of the indiscriminate use and disposal of plastics in terms of the impact it has on an environment cannot be underestimated. Tell us about the impact of this environmental degradation on the increasing, and how that affects environment itself. I'm talking about this, the degradation as a result of, say, the disposal of, indiscriminate disposal and use of plastic.
All right. When we talk about environmental degradation, it comes in different aspects. We can talk about the effect of the plastics on the environment, and we can talk about the degradation of land by way of removal of trees, or malhandling our waters like the galamseys are doing. But to pin it on plastics, if you are not managing your plastics properly, we know that plastics have a very long lifespan,
right,
and these do not deteriorate easily. So when the plastics get into the land, then it changes the structure of the soil. Now, planting food becomes a different thing. I remember I saw a beautiful pawpaw in an environment, and I got some of the seeds. So I planted it in my house. Now, where I live, they actually removed the topsoil from everywhere before they started selling the lands. And now the pawpaw that I saw was about 1 foot long. That is how long the fruit was. The one in my house is about 6 inches. Look at the difference. 1 foot long
Big difference.
Big difference.
Yeah.
The quality of the fruit is gone. Even the taste has changed. So I was telling the kids in the house that this is what the land degradation causes to food security. So if the plastics get into the soil like that, it affects the quality of our food. And if you are not eating well, productivity will get low. And it definitely comes into the economy. So there is that cycle,
right,
which can be looked at another date. So we as individuals should make sure that, fine, if we cannot do away with the use of plastics, then we must guard the disposal of plastics. Yeah. It is neither here nor there. If you are using it, make sure you manage the waste it generates properly, or you don't touch it.
Right. You know, there's actually a big debate as to whether we actually must continue to use plastics. And it's the debate and then the politicians have struggled to make a decision as to what way to go, because he has all kinds of implications, yes. Business, political, social, etc., etc. So, but that's not why you're here, because you're not politicians. So I'm not gonna. But I think that, like the point she said, is that, look, if we believe we need it,
yeah,
we say we need it, then let's use it properly.
Exactly.
So that it doesn't. So more or less, like we don't cut our nose to spite our face.
Exactly.
Basically, you know. But let's still stay with some of the activities that destroy the environment, and let's look at deforestation. Would you want to throw some more light on the extent to which deforestation also destroys the environment?
Yes, for sure. I mean, the conversation around deforestation, sometimes it's active, sometimes it's passive. But for us, it's very important to note that the active removal of trees, either for developmental purposes or for mining, etc., always would have an effect on not just the climate, but also the quality of life of the people who live around that area. You would see that as development persists and it increases, definitely there will be the need to clear some of these places. But the question is, how many are we replacing when we do clear? And how often and how intentional are we about doing this? So the impact of deforestation, I know if you go back to our basic school learners on, trees perform windbreaks, they prevent erosion. It also helps to bring back oxygen into the air and actually even holds the soil together to avoid erosion, etc. But the reality today is that we even need it more than ever. Talk about the impact of climate change, and the fact that day in, day out, the CO2 emissions that go out from the use of equipment and cars, etc., is increasing. But are the trees also growing, or are we planting trees at the same level? not necessarily or not intentionally. So for us, as part of the Environment Day, it was important to use this opportunity to also drive home the green agenda. Okay,
well, we just planted 20 million seedlings.
Yes,
just a few. Oh, I think it was yesterday or so.
Good.
World Green Day.
Exactly.
That's the name, right?
World Green Day. Yes. Yeah. But for us,
Ghana,
for us intentionally, we gave ourselves the task, not just when we did the cleanup exercise, of planting some trees in the circle runabout.
Oh, you did that?
Yes, we did do that during the Friday before the 5th of June. Okay. And then we also took the opportunity to come to where our offices are, and as management, as staff, everybody planted one tree.
Oh, that's nice.
And the whole idea is not just plant and go and forget about it, but name the tree and make sure that when next year we come, we would see whether the tree is developing or not. Right. So this is how we take things.
Nurture it. Take care of it.
Exactly. Take things into your own hands. Let's see how, as individuals, we can also add to the tree population. And we think that little by little, one step at a time, we'll be able to help, if not totally eradicate the effects of deforestation. At least net effect of adding some would become also important for us. So this is what we did.
He mentions climate change as a major contributor to environmental degradation. You want to throw some more light on that?
Yes. As we remove the trees, and the structure of the atmosphere changes, definitely we are going to have it's going to have an effect on us. We can tell how the rains come in nowadays.
Right.
And when we get into the dry season, how we feel the heat. Once somebody asks what is climate change, he says the climate is changing. Of course, it is changing. It is changing, so it is climate change.
Right.
The effect of all the things that we do, our actions and inactions, come on us in different forms. And talking about the devastating effect of the removal of trees, I think that our stance as a company is that plant a tree and own it.
Right.
So that, in a way, you as an individual will be helping in small, trickle ways to correct the effect that has occurred, the problems that our inactions and actions have caused. Your planting of a tree will help correct it, in that the cycle will be repaired.
Okay.
The CO2 is absorbed by the tree that you have planted, right, and it emits oxygen, and then you also breathe well. So if I do that, you do that, everybody does that, then we know that we are trying to inject into the system something that will correct the climate change.
Right.
And as an individual, as you pollute, I mean, when you get up each day, you pollute. The moment you get up, you're breathing, you are working, you are eating, everything you're doing causes pollution in a way or the other. The last time I was here, I was telling them that even walking in, I brought in some debris of sand into this room, and it's part of pollution.
Yeah, so you've polluted here.
Yes. So you cannot do away. That is what I want to emphasize. You cannot do away with pollution. Therefore, in the same way, you as an individual have to put in the effort to correct the mistakes that we are causing. Right. And if you decide that today you want to go and live in the thickest of all the forest, when you go there, I'll follow you.
I see.
The moment you start development somewhere very serene, somebody else will also find reason to come. So we should make sure that those of us who are in the built-up areas, those of us who are in the cities where we have cleared almost all the trees, deliberately and intentionally, let us plant some shrubs. If we cannot plant trees around, let us get some shrubs around, potted plants around. Let us put some greens around us. Nowadays, we lie to ourselves and we put the artificial turf in our homes, and the place looks green, but we are not getting any oxygen. Mm-hmm. So let us be intentional about that. Okay. Plant a tree or two in your house.
But Edwin, this is where I come in. I'm like, look, what is Zoom Lions? What's your wahala? Somebody's going to ask, because you've been very big on educating the public about moving away from any acts or activities that can potentially destroy the environment or that can degrade the environment. But some will say, what's your problem? Because the more people litter around, the more money you make. You know, the more we litter around, the more money Zoom Lion will make. And yet you are educating people, you know, very, very passionately and consistently about, you know, moving away from this act.
Yeah.
Really, what's your motive? Why are you doing this?
No, it's you know what we say about the destruction or evil is perpetuated when good people decide not to say anything or not to do anything. So yes, we do consider that we are doing quite a good work at trying to manage the waste and etc. And yes, it is business for us. But the idea and one of the key roles or the mission of our group is really to improve lives. Okay. So we don't want to improve lives in spite of all the effects that may happen in trying to do that. So we want to first move by getting people to understand that this is not a work that is cut out for Zoom Lion, and just because we can and we want to work, continue polluting. Let's start by making sure that as individuals, we take responsibility, because it costs us a lot more to clean than to avoid the destruction or the bad waste practices. Right. So we want people to take advantage or to be re-energized, to take this cleanliness into their own hands and make sure that they are doing the right thing, so that we don't have to come out with trucks still contributing to the CO2 emission and come out there to pick this waste when you don't do it. So the whole idea of sensitization is to educate. We continue to educate. We want to get to the time where there's not so much waste to be picked. And then as Zoom Lion and as Jospon Group, we play a role in the whole cycle. There's definitely still something that we can do to help the environment. But the sensitization is key. It's key for all of us to know. Now, I was telling my kids the last time that when they saw a truck and they saw someone drop, just like Emma said, drop something out of the truck. The question they asked was, "Oh, why is the person doing that?" And I was asking myself, does the person or the adult who dropped it, if somebody educated him or her about this, maybe he wouldn't have done that. But the kids of today know that when you are eating in the car, you don't drop it outside, you put it in a car to pick it up. So that education needs to trickle from us to them, and then we build a better Ghana and a better world for all of us.
But finally, so what should we expect from Zoom Lion? I mean, you are going around the media houses. Of course, you've been on original TV, original FM, you've been on Metro TV, trying to sensitize the public and educate the public about some of these, what you call evil acts that tend to degrade or destroy the environment. What should we expect more from Zoom Lion beyond the public education through the use of media, both traditional and social media, new media, sorry?
All right. From Zoom Lion, our mainstay is to clean the environment. Right. And so what you should expect from us is for us to give you that service that we have vowed to ourselves and country to do. And also expect that we'll continue to help you to manage your waste appropriately. But you need to take the first step of getting committed to managing your own premises waste properly. Because if you are doing that and everybody else is also doing that, the waste is not going to get out there to find its way into the street. Already, the street itself will generate its own minimal waste. So don't come and add your own. So my message is that manage the waste that you generate appropriately by getting at least 2 bins, so that now that plastics have become part of our lives, put your plastics in one and all others in one. I don't care the volume of plastic waste you generate a day, but so far as you are here at this time, I believe you generate plastic waste too.
Absolutely.
So get 2 bins and then put your plastics in one and all others in the other. And Zoom Lion will help you deal with the rest.
Deal with that. Okay, Emma, I want to thank you so very much for your time. It's been wonderful having you guys around. And, you know, I'm sure that our viewers are going to take more particular attention and interest in world environment. They're more importantly about their own activities, the decisions that go to either degrade or destroy the environment, because this is all we have, like you said. If we destroy it, it's good. If we destroy it, we destroy ourselves.
Exactly.
If we keep it clean and keep it safe, we're doing that for ourselves. We're not doing it for anybody.
Yeah.
Thank you so very much. Edwin Amwaku is the managing director, Zoom Lion Private Services Limited, and also Emma Ajua Oseidia is communications and corporate affairs director. Thank you very much. Have a great day.
Thank you.
It's good to see you guys.
Good to see you
all
too.
Right, then.